Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack, as always, and delighted you've been able to tune in with us yet again for another show. Now, before we do get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and give us an old share on social media if you can. Now, if you like listening to us on a podcast player, there's a link down below in the description, which will take you to a website where a vast array of podcast players can be found. And finally, if you want to support the show, if you like the show, a couple of ways you can do it. The first way is just to become a channel member, and you can do so through YouTube, or alternatively you can also buy us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com, link also down below in the description. And finally, if you want to follow us on TikTok or Instagram, links are also down below there. On TikTok, we're doing short versions of these videos, so you'll get them for a minute 30, and you can subscribe and follow us there as well. It's proven to be quite popular and a great way to get your news in the evening time. So now that's all done and dusted, let's jump into the top stories doing the rounds here in Thailand today. No more coups. Well, let's hope so. The Defence Council has approved a proposal allowing the Prime Minister to suspend senior officials suspected of planning a military coup, according to Jamnong Chaimongkol, the Defence Vice Minister. This coup prevention measure was presented at a Defence Council meeting chaired by Defence Minister Sutin Klungsang on April 19th. The Council endorsed a proposal to amend two laws governing the administrative functions of the Defence Ministry and the Military Court Charter. These amendments also outline new criteria for promoting generals. Now, under the new criteria, senior officials must not have a history of involvement in activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, natural resource destruction, or other malign influences. They must not have conflicts of interest such as holding ministry concessions, and they must not be under criminal investigation except for cases involving negligence, defamation, or minor offences. Importantly, the proposal grants authority to the Prime Minister with Cabinet approval to immediately suspend senior officers found to be plotting a military coup. Now, according to Jamnong, this anti-coup proposal has been advocated for some time by civic groups and the ruling Pheu Thai party. After assuming office as Defence Minister, Mr. Sutan led a working group to study the issue with input from military representatives. The amendment, born out of discussions with pro-democracy circles, will now advance to the Cabinet for review before being presented to Parliament for deliberation. Additionally, during the council meeting, it was decided to increase the membership of the Defence Council by appointing 2 new members. Furthermore, military courts in the provinces will be abolished, with cases falling under their jurisdiction redirected to the criminal court, except during wartime when appeals can be made to the Supreme Military Court. These legal amendments reflect efforts to modernize the defense administration in response to social changes. Colonel Dangjai Suwankati, Deputy Defense Ministry spokesman, also noted an increase in conscripts this year, with 42,260 enlistees, representing a 9% rise from last year and constituting to half of this year's total conscription. So there you go, there's the idea to sort out the old military coups. I do find it interesting that senior officers must not have a history of involvement in activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, or natural resource destruction. So are they saying that in the past, if they did have a history, it was perfectly acceptable to, be promoted to be a general? It's kind of very strange wording, but also the idea that you have to put this into a new law or criteria really does suggest that in the past people who have been under suspicion have been promoted, and that's kind of worrying. Also, I doubt this will really stop any kind of military coup. If they're going to have a coup and there's a general there and they decide that they're going to do it, well, they're going to do it because they have the backing of the army and they have the guns, and who's going to stop them, I guess, at the end of the day. I think for Thailand's sake, though, I do hope there's going to be no more coups in this country. But, if they keep pushing things in terms of trying to get, let's say, Thaksin's sister Yingluck home and try to pull another fast one like they did with him, I do think that will push people to, get out there on the streets and complain, and who knows where that might lead. Now, an interesting story today. Phuket hospitals are urging respectful conduct from Russian patients. Yes, they want Russians to be respectful when they come to hospital. In response to recent troubling incidents involving Russian nationals, Vashira Phuket Hospital has issued a direct appeal to the Russian community in Phuket, urging adherence to hospital rules and respect for Thai laws. Now, Metavi Manasari, head of the international department at Vashira Phuket Hospital, addressed the community in a letter expressing concern over unacceptable behaviour displayed by some individuals. This plea follows incidents like a refusal to settle bills and a threat involving a baseball bat. Dear Russian community in Phuket, the letter begins, "It is imperative to note that the behaviour described in the report is unacceptable to us. I am ready to assist and cooperate with anyone involved in medical cases, provided they adhere to standard procedures and respect public laws and regulations." Ms. Metavi emphasised the importance of cooperation for a peaceful environment for all residents and expats, highlighting the need to respect hospital procedures and local laws. The appeal was sent to the Phuket News for publication in Novosti Phuketa, the Russian language sister newspaper of the Phuket News. Attached was a police report confirming an incident involving a Russian patient who refused to pay a bill and caused a disturbance. According to reports, a Russian patient left without paying a bill of 8,380 baht and returned later, refusing to settle the outstanding amount while making threats and causing chaos with a companion wielding a baseball bat. The situation was resolved with the intervention of the Phuket City Police. Now, Ms. Metavi urged legal action against the individual involved, emphasising the need for respectful behaviour from the Russian community. In light of these events, Prime Minister Sareta Thavisin emphasised the importance of upholding the law impartially, particularly against influential individuals who disregard regulations. The incident underscores a broader concern about foreign nationals engaging in illegal activities. Authorities are urged to enforce laws fairly to maintain the region's credibility and investment attractiveness. So I would suspect this is not the first time this doctor has had incidents with Russian people, and this was kind of the tipping point for her when she came out to write this letter and complain and kind of appeal to the Russian community. Look, behave yourself when you come to the hospital. All right. On the other hand, on the other side here as well, I don't think it's good to tarnish a whole community because of a few people, but I do think it's incumbent upon people and fellow, to talk to nationals. People communicate in all kinds of ways, but to kind of say to your fellow Russian person, colleague or friend, behave yourself when you're in Phuket, because we're getting an awful bad reputation here. And soon it'll come to the point where the authorities will decide that, well, maybe they don't want us here anymore. And maybe they're going to say adios, goodbye. Now, in relation to this guy who didn't pay his bill, as far as I'm concerned, you don't pay your bill, you should be brought to court. And if found guilty, as far as I'm concerned, deported back to Russia, straight with him. Wielding a baseball bat, the friend, to court, and then straight back to his country and head off, blacklisted forever. Not for 10 years, not for 5 years, forever. And I do think Thailand, and in particular Phuket, where there seems to be an issue, because we've seen a lot of stories over the last few weeks, need to start getting tough and send out a very strong message to people that we're not going to accept your bad behaviour anymore. I also think the government, I believe the 60-day visa free for Russians will be coming to an end at the end of this month. I would urge the government, and I think based on the levels of crime that has been committed within the Russian community over the last few months, that extending it would probably be a poor decision. And they need to revert back to a visa on arrival or something like that for Russian people until they can start to figure out how they can encourage Russian people to come to the country but obey the laws and ensure that they're not causing problems for other people. At the end of the day, when any expat causes problems, it reflects badly on all expats. And I think this is one thing that needs to be noted about it. But for me, if you're an expat here in Thailand, if you're breaking the law, you're doing illegal things, then I fully expect that you are dealt with according to the law. And I think there needs to be a harsh penalty now. And I think it needs to be deportation and start sending out a message to foreigners here in the country that there will be no more tolerance of your bad behaviour. Your guests in the country, behave like it. It's not your country. And if you're going to behave badly, well, it's bye-bye. But I'd love to know what you think about this, as always, down below in the comment section. Now, moving along. This is a bit disgusting, guys. Condo owner upset as foreign tenant skips rent, leaves a mess behind. A female owner of a condominium in Bangkok expressed frustration after a French tenant fled without paying 2 months' rent, leaving her unit in a state of disarray. The woman took to her TikTok account, posting 15 photos showcasing the aftermath of the tenant's departure. The images reveal piles of garbage strewn across furniture, including the sofa, dining tables, kitchen shelves and beds, and as well as in the toilet and on the balcony. Among the trash were paper wraps, boxes, plastic bags, drink bottles, food containers, used clothes, canvas shoes, and even a used condo. The Thai owner explained that the French tenant had not paid rent for 2 months, prompting her to visit the unit. Upon opening the door, she was shocked to find the room in what she described as resembling a war zone. Her TikTok post quickly gained traction, amassing over 1.2 million views, 27,000 likes, and 1,500 comments by Sunday morning. Some users pointed out that the tenant had abandoned valuable items, including an electrical guitar and 2 guitar amps, which could potentially be sold to cover the cleaning costs. One user noted the quality of the guitar amp, suggesting it could fetch a decent sum. Another user expressed interest in purchasing a mini clothes washing machine left in the washroom. The condo owner mentioned that she would need to wait a month before selling the belongings left behind by the tenant. When asked about the tenant's whereabouts, she replied that the Frenchman had left the country, leaving her to deal with the aftermath of his sudden departure and the mess he left behind. I've only one word for this fella: pig. He's a pig. And you know, it's really disgusting how people behave when they go to foreign countries. I don't understand how this guy behaves like this. And I don't understand how he lives like this either. But, you know, at the end of the day, hopefully now this Thai owner has a deposit from him, because normally they'll have a month or 2 deposit. So she'll at least have that to hold on to and to be able to get the place cleaned up. And, you know, after the month has gone by, I think she'll be able to sell his items and get a few quid for it as well. And that'll be, you know, good. A guy like this, by the way, she should report to the police, and the police should put a note on his file. Just blacklist him straight away. That's it. No more coming back to Thailand for you. I think when people behave so badly and show just total disregard for fellow human beings, that really they don't deserve to come back again. But who knows how they will deal with this, I guess, and whether or not she'll actually go to the police and make a formal complaint. Now, more displaced people flee from Myanmar into Thailand. As we know, there has been a lot of fighting across the border in Thailand or in Myanmar, and it's kind of spilling over now into Thailand. Fighting between Myanmar government and Karen rebel forces continued throughout Saturday night and into Sunday morning, driving more civilians to seek temporary refuge in Mae Sot district of Thailand's western province of Tak. The rebels launched mortar and drone attacks against the remnants of Myanmar troops who have retreated from their last camp in Myawaddy township and are now hiding out in trenches and bunkers near the second Thai-Myanmar Friendship Bridge, about 1.5 kilometers from the Thai border of the Ta Sai Luad sub-district, Mae Sot. Meanwhile, the Myanmar government responded with airstrikes using Russian-made MiG-29 fighters and helicopter gunships against rebel positions in Myawaddy. The sound of bomb explosions and automatic gunfire could be heard from the Thai border throughout the night. Thai security sources say that the warring sides are believed to have suffered casualties in the bombings, but no details were available. The number of people from Myanmar taking temporary shelter in holding centres in Bangwa, Tak Yen in the past few days has risen to about 2,000. Thai security officials expect more to flee across the border into Thailand if the fighting continues to escalate. Myawaddy Township, a major hub for cross-border trade between Thailand and Myanmar, is now under the control of the Karen National Union. Reinforcements have been sent by the government to recapture the township, but their advance has been stalled by rebel forces using ambushes and other guerrilla tactics. By the way, when we say government, we are talking about a coup, a junta government. They are not an elected government. They took over in a coup and have been jailing pretty much and killing anybody who's pretty much come up against them. As we know, the Myanmar junta, Kathmandu or whatever they call themselves, are a brutal force, but they've been getting their ass handed to them over the last couple of weeks by the Karen National Union along with other opposition parties. So we'll see where that leads to. And as we conclude today's episode, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. This show isn't just about delivering news, it's about fostering a conversation. Your insights and perspectives matter. So keep the dialogue alive, like the video, subscribe to our channel and share it with others. Your support means the world to us. I'm Kieran Mack and you've been tuning in to the Thai Expat Daily Show. Until next time, take care and stay engaged.